Time for some transfer talk with myself, Mark Donaldson, and the very energetic Shaka Hislop. And Shaka, I want to start with a very talented left back, left wing back, or left centre back, Marc Cucurella, who Brighton did well to get from La Liga, and he's done really well for them, handed in a transfer request. Manchester City were linked to them. Looks like they've kind of cooled a little bit, but Chelsea's the latest who have been linked with Cucurella. But where would they play him? They've got Chilwell and Alonso, left wing back, left back. Is he being identified as a left centre back in the Chelsea defence?
I think you could play either. There's a player that will come in this transfer rate that Chelsea also linked to that I'm sure affects this discussion. But Chilwell was bought a couple of seasons ago to play as that left wing back, but only featured 7 times last season. 6 starts, and that's a surprising stat for me for a player who was highly sought after when he made that switch from Leicester to Chelsea. Marcos Alonso has played more times than not as a left back, and while left back and left-sided centre back, and while he's been outstanding in that position. Time comes to a close for everybody, and just as he's starting to age, and an opportunity to sign Cucurella comes around, you understand Chelsea's interest. So I think he can play in either. At the same time, in their preseason friendlies, it was another Koulibaly who played as the left-sided centre back alongside Thiago Silva and Azpilicueta. So we'll see. Cucurella can tick a number of boxes for Thomas Tuchel. So you understand their interest fully.
Yeah, and it would make sense. You could easily play Koulibaly as your right centre-back of 3, replacing Azpilicueta, Thiago Silva in the middle, and Cucurella on the left-hand side. So that certainly would make sense. Just having him in as a left wing-back, along with Chilwell, along with Alonso if he stays, it just seems to be a little bit too much. The next one that I think is of interest, and I think it would be a super signing. Leicester have had issues this close season. They've not really added any players to their squad. The speculation about players leaving, one of which is James Maddison. Now, Newcastle are the team that have been linked with him. Newcastle pre-season have done pretty well. Almiron's played that kind of right-sided of the 4-2-3-1 behind the striker role pretty well as well. But they could do with a bit more strength and depth. Bruno Guimaraes is a super player in there, but with no Jonjo Shelvey, he's probably having to play a little bit deeper. So James Maddison coming in off the right or playing anywhere behind the striker, how does that sound for you?
I think Maddison is a wonderful signing and an upgrade on Almiron, who has been good back end of last season. But I think Maddison at his best, if you can get the best out of him, is an upgrade. I think Guimaraes is better suited sitting a little bit deeper, as good a player. I'll be honest. Bruno Guimaraes can play anywhere. Pick a position, play it there. But I think his best position, or at the very least most needed position, is sitting just in front of that back four. So if you get Maddison in to be a little bit more advanced, play a little bit more advanced, to be a little bit more attack-minded, I think that is a very good signing indeed.
Everton, where are they getting their goals from? Richarlison's gone to Spurs. Dominic Calvert-Lewin, kind of injury-prone, picked up another knock. Dele Alli might end up being the false 9 right now. So they've been linked with Michy Batshuyai. Do you like that?
I'm a little bit uncertain. I'll be honest. First of all, let me just say, I think Everton will struggle. I am genuinely concerned for Everton this season. Probably the only saving grace as far as they are. I think the 3 promoted teams are worse than they are. That might get them, or see them at least avoid relegation. But I think it's going to be a frustrating season for Everton fans. Another frustrating season. Batshuayi coming in for Richarlison, does he score the goals consistently enough? And even so, and as much as we're talking about replacing Richarlison, I've been fairly critical of Richarlison in the past as well. I thought his goals were needed back end of last season, but it was more about his energy. At times, I thought it took too many opportunities for him to find the back of the net, and it saw Everton kind of find themselves in trouble, or at least sitting uneasily for most of 90 minutes. But I'm not sure that Batshuyai is a player that comes in and delivers the goals, delivers the leadership that Everton need right now.
Next up is a very talented Portuguese midfielder, Ruben Neves. Manchester United have been linked. Is that the area they look to strengthen first as it stands right now, or is that down the line?
Well, the question is that the area they need to strengthen first? Manchester United need to strengthen all over the park. So it's where they get players in that are available and of the quality that Manchester United need and normally recruit, but then do so without offering Champions League football. They've been frustrated in their pursuit of De Jong. And now I've shifted attention to Ruben Neves, who has been outstanding for Wolves in the Premier League. Yes, absolutely. You can get Ruben Neves through the door. I think this is a good signing for Manchester United. It's a good signing in what I think will ultimately prove a more difficult transfer window. It's already shown itself to be a more difficult transfer window than Manchester United hoped, if not expected.
Shaka, we're going to end with Spurs, who've done a lot of business early, which I think is a good thing from their perspective, signed some really good players as well. They've also been linked with Milan Skriniar. Now, he's a player that Antonio Conte knows very well. You and I have commentated on him many occasions. We know how good he can be. He's a hardy boy. I mean, he's got tattoos on his teeth. You wouldn't mess with him. He's like a nightclub bouncer, but he's also a super player. Is he the final piece of the defensive jigsaw for Spurs, or are they happy with what they have right now and can make do?
So my most immediate takeaway is, to be a nightclub bouncer in Donaldson land, you need tattoos on your teeth.
Well,
That's
you wouldn't mess.
Yeah.
If he says, Shaka, you're not getting in. Your name's not down, you're not getting in.
Yeah,
you're
well,
argue,
yeah,
are you?
You're right. If you have tattoos on your teeth, I'm not trying to come in. That aside, Donaldson club aside,
Okay.
I think now Skriniar has also been linked with Chelsea as of a few hours ago. I think it's a signing that both clubs need. My big concern for Spurs is, as good as a transfer window as they have had, I just still question whether defensively they're as strong as they need to be. Need to be in terms of fending off the challenge of both a Chelsea, who are really ramping up their efforts this transfer window, as we discussed, and an Arsenal who've looked very good indeed. That is, for me, and in particular, having to play Dyer as a centre-back, I don't think fills me with an incredible amount of confidence in doing so in the long term. So Skriniar makes absolutely perfect sense for Antonio Conte, and he probably is in pole position given the relationship between the two. But you also understand Chelsea's interest and why it's as keen as it is, as I had started discussing around Cucurella, and that another centre-back, another out-and-out centre-back coming in. And as much as we talk about Thiago Silva, as much as I love Thiago Silva, he's going to be 38 next month. And time catches up with every single player. So the question becomes, with a player of Skriniar's ability, when that becomes available and you are recognizing that the writing is on the wall for Thiago Silva, not because of his performances, but because of his age, when do you act? And that for me is why Chelsea, I understand Chelsea's interest. I also say, I totally understand Spurs' interest. I think Spurs' need right now is greater than Chelsea's. I think that relationship between Conte and Skriniar, as I say, puts them in a slightly better position in terms of completing that signing.
Well, thank you very much for watching ESPN on YouTube. For more sports highlights and analysis, be sure to download the ESPN app. And for live streaming, premium content, and let's not forget as well, ESPN FC 7 days a week, subscribe to ESPN Plus.